Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. Now, if you're a regular to this channel, you know I normally do a review on Sundays after a Grand Prix, but I didn't do it last weekend because, frankly, the Portuguese Grand Prix was really boring, and I didn't really have much to say about it, because even Hamilton breaking the record number of wins, I've kind of already talked about it before. It was inevitable, so I didn't bother. Even the silly season stuff with drivers going everywhere, just not really much to say at the moment. It was confirmed today that Gasly will be staying at AlphaTauri, so that probably means that Albon and Kvyat will be going, and Yuki Tsunoda, and I've heard Sergio Perez or Nico Hulkenberg for Red Bull, which would be weird. They don't normally hire outside of their driver academy thing. So, I mean, the other horrible news to come out of Formula 1 is that Grosjean will no longer be at Haas next year. Neither will Magnussen. I love Grosjean. I am a Roman Grosjean apologist. I think he's a really good race driver, but he says he doesn't have the sponsorship to continue in the sport. So sadly, we'll be losing him from the grid after, how many years? 9, 10 years? I mean, he wasn't really doing much anyway, so I don't think it makes much difference. So, unfortunately, that was my thoughts on the Portuguese Grand Prix. It was a very dull race, so I didn't do a video. I was kind of tired anyway, so I skipped it. But today, we will be talking about Indycar, because that race was actually pretty cool. And it was the season finale. So sit back, relax, and let's begin.
Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
So, the final round at St. Petersburg in Florida. It was an okay race. I'm not going to go into details about the race, more what happened. So, before the race started, it was Scott Dixon with a healthy lead and Josef Newgarden, who's been in great form towards the end of the season, trying to catch him. Newgarden won, which I think he's one of the best drivers in IndyCar. And I think he's unlucky that Scott Dixon managed to finish third, and therefore he has won his 4th championship. But I think Newgarden, you know, in the old days, IndyCar drivers did occasionally move over to Formula 1. I think Newgarden could do it if anyone decided to pick him up. And I think being stuck in IndyCar forever is sort of a poor use of his talents. I'd like to see him give Formula 1 a go. He's probably too old and probably couldn't get the sponsorship money required to race in Formula 1. Most drivers do come up through Formula 2 nowadays. That's pretty much the only way to come up. But he's a really good driver. Scott Dixon, again, amazing driver. He's got a decent legacy behind him in IndyCar. And long may it continue. The other thing that happened was Scott McLaughlin making his debut in IndyCar. And the Supercars champion gave a decent enough go at it. But he did make a mistake, locked his brakes. It's bound to happen. This is new to him. He's only done a couple of test sessions. I think he acquitted himself quite well, and we'll see how he does next year. Because with a bit more miles under him, he's talented enough to do well in this series. And I'm more interested in actually Jimmie Johnson coming over from NASCAR. He is one of the most legendary drivers in that series. To see him come across to IndyCar so late in his career, I don't think he's going to be winning races, but just being there, it's interesting. I find IndyCar way more exciting to watch than NASCAR, and part of that is there's a lot less oval racing. I'm not necessarily into ovals. The racing's fine, but NASCAR has far too many races overall, but it has, most of them are ovals. It's not that interesting to watch. Not every weekend. But IndyCar actually has quite a nice mix and some good tracks. I like St. Petersburg. I would like to see a Formula 1 race there. It will never happen. But 2021 IndyCar, which only starts in like 3 or 4 months' time, it's going to be a good year. They've got some interesting drivers on the grid. There's probably more to be announced. And probably no Alonso at the Indy 500 next year, because he's back in Formula 1. But IndyCar is really exciting to watch. Probably more than Formula 1 is week to week. So make sure you watch it next year. It's really good. I don't really have too much more to say on it. The last 10 laps were crazy. There's like 3 or 4 crashes. I think the safety car ran out of fuel, which I'm not sure how that happens. I don't know if that's just it was used so much they forgot to put more fuel in it. But different nonetheless. But yeah, there's 3 or 4 crashes. People made mistakes. I don't know if that's just a symptom of the year, but it's been crazy. And the racing seems to match the year we've had. A lot of people were very unlucky. Will Power is probably pound for pound the best driver on an IndyCar grid. He seems to have no luck whatsoever, and he crashed again, as did Rossi, who was doing a really good job. I like Alexander Rossi. I think he should have got more of a chance in Formula 1. It didn't work out for him, and in this race I think he got in the marbles and lost it, which is a shame. There's a few more people. I can't even remember who else crashed. But if you don't watch motor racing live, and I don't tend to unless it's Formula 1 really, I tend to watch it a couple of hours after. But if you're going to go back and watch something, watch the finale of the IndyCar season, because it was a stunning race in comparison to the Portuguese Grand Prix, which was boring as hell. So that is my general thoughts on the race and the series as a whole. IndyCar looks to be doing strong. Honda leaving Formula 1. I bet the IRL were praying that Honda didn't announce they were leaving IndyCar as well. I don't know how long their contract runs with the sport, but they only have Honda and Chevrolet, so if Honda left, it would just be Chevrolet, and GM Motors aren't too... GM Motors will leave a series if they feel they're not getting their money's worth. The V8 supercars will, hold their hands up to that. V8 supercars is in a really, really precarious position where they only have Fords and Holdens on the grid, but Holden are now non-existent. They've been... I don't know what the term is. They've been destroyed. From what I've seen, the Commodores will be racing next year, but that car was discontinued 2 or 3 years ago. So there will be no new Commodore eventually, and these cars will be getting old, and there'll be no more development for them. And the Ford Mustangs are pretty cool, but I don't want to see a Ford Mustang one make series, so it'll be interesting to see what V8 Supercars does, and probably the same for DTM. DTM have announced GT3 rules next year, just as a way to get more manufacturers and drivers on the grid. I think they have to, because Audi have pulled out. So a lot of motor racing series aren't in healthy condition, and that's a shame. So we'll have to see what the future holds for pretty much every motor racing series on the planet. I don't think we'd ever lose IndyCar, because I think the Indy 500 is far too important. If it ever came to that, there would be efforts to make it work. And it is America's best racing series. I like the WeatherTech Endurance Championship, probably more than the World Endurance Championship. I don't watch a lot of it though. I watch bits and pieces here and there. I have stopped watching NASCAR. I think I watched about half the races last year. This year I watched the Daytona 500 and I haven't watched it since, and I'm not sad, but I've missed it. I don't know what it is with NASCAR. I hate the playoff system. They had their own troubles this weekend. It rained in Texas, and so it's Wednesday, and I don't actually know if the NASCAR race has finished yet or happened. I don't know. I don't really care, honestly. But I'm going to leave you with a massive thank you for helping me get to 100 subscribers. It's insane. I wanted to do a whole week celebrating reaching that number, and it's taken kind of longer than I thought. A lot of the videos I was planning have turned out to be more tricky than I originally planned for. So hopefully next week there will be 7 videos to celebrate reaching 100 subscribers. Unfortunately, it happened a lot quicker than I thought it would. I was on 90 when I started, and I didn't think I'd hit 100 straight away. It's about a week later, and now I've got 102 subscribers. So thank you for subscribing. It's amazing, and I will be releasing some special content next week. Hopefully as planned, but some things may change, because a couple of the videos are turning out to be pains in the arses. So I will go into more detail next week, because Monday I will start with a short thank you video, just laying out what I'll be doing the rest of the week. But once again, thank you for subscribing and supporting this very, very small project, which I film in a storage room. I'll talk about plans for everything else with the channel in next week's video. As for this week, I'm hoping to get one more video at least out. This one's been late. I was planning to do this last couple of days and things haven't worked out. It's going to be Thursday when I upload this. Hopefully I'll release something Saturday at least. Maybe Sunday as well. We'll see how it goes. But obviously I'm working on all the videos for next week, so it depends. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you once again for subscribing and have a good one.